Meeting is being recorded.
Welcome everyone to episode number 300 of NoCoders Office Hours. I'm your host, Tanya. We're here with members Rob, Michael, Thomas, John, and Callum. We're going to get started in just a moment, but if this is your first time tuning in, why is it the first time you're tuning in? It's episode 300, y'all. We do this 6 times per week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and Mondays we have a second session at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. And what it is we invite our members to come onto the call and ask us any bubble questions that they want, and we do our best to answer them. We can't promise the answers because nobody has all of the answers, but we do get it right most of the time, and our big promise is that you won't suffer with your bubble problem alone. So, and we do great at that. We make sure nobody suffers alone, right? So.
Yeah, we all suffer together.
Yeah, we suffer together. Misery loves company. Awesome. Well, okay, so Michael, I think you were here first. Do you have any questions for today?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to figure something out. So is it right if I share my screen?
Sure.
Cool. Let's see. Desktop number 2.
Is it really 300 today, Tonya?
It is episode 300.
Mental.
I know, right?
Mental. That's amazing. It's a testament to the great job you're doing, Tanya. You and Cameron and everybody.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So I got a bubble question. That's why we're here, right? There's this website, mynewts.com. It's pretty cool. It's an e-commerce store for nootropics. It's built in Bubble. And on this page, can you see my screen, Tanya?
I can.
Great. You can see this type form is embedded here, right? Mm-hmm. You go through this process where it asks you some questions, and it asks about 20 questions, and it delivers a personalized recommendation of like, hey, here's the best kind of like assortment of nootropics. Excuse me. Sorry about that. That would help you. And what I can't wrap my head around is how they're doing this, because they send you a recommendation via email, which is pretty standard, because you could take this data in type form, you can score it, in type form or in Airtable or something, and send an automated email. So the part that that's melting my brain is how they've tied this in with Bubble. On this page, there's a results ID generated here, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm presuming that's giving it's assigning that to the current user field if this is in Bubble. And mm-hmm. what will happen is, when I click on this to see my recommendations, it will then surface up what are the personalized recommendation of like what to do, of what to use, like your 30-day bundle. And it's doing that here, basically, like with all these different things. So I'm wondering, how is it that they're able to do that? Because they're using Typeform, which is not within Bubble, obviously. How are they able to match the answers from Typeform and then match it to what I'm assuming what they're doing is when you get to this page, it's a query, it's a database lookup of this results ID, but how are they getting that information, that data from Typeform to then be able to surface up whatever recommendation that is? And so I was doing a little look on the back end. They're using Zapier to glue this together. So I'm presuming that they're using some type of Bubble and Typeform login. But I was just curious, and I just wanted to ask y'all and anybody if you've ever seen anything like this, because I thought this was really neat.
Yeah, let me check. So I know that there's a way. Well, first of all, is there a Typeform Bubble plugin?
Yep, I've just checked. There's one on there.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, so that might be one way. The other way is just through the Typeform API.
Right.
And what you're specifically looking for is essentially a webhook. So if Typeform can generate a webhook back into Bubble, and you can match it based on the email. So like if you're grabbing, if you're grabbing the email in the type form and then you
Right.
know the user's email, or if there's a way for you to grab that email from, say, the iframe that they're working in when you embed the type form. Because we were looking into doing this last summer. We had a client who was using a lot of type form, like so many different type forms in their site and in their Bubble app. And the trick that they wanted to do with us, it was super tricky. It was going to be sending the data through 2 different iframes to essentially give the user ID to type form to then be able to match user to user that way. But I don't think it has to get that complicated. I think if you can, if you already know who the user is by the time they're filling out the type form, or if you can grab that email from the iframe and pull it into Bubble and create a temporary user and then be able to match it, that's what you're looking for.
Got it. So that's really interesting. I didn't know that was possible, and it's kind of melted my brain because you can see here, this is Bubble page and it has my name that I put in the type form, right? So,
yep.
So how were they able to match this user session with the type form? That's
so the other thing is before you even get started with a user actually signing up, when they're not logged in, when they're not logged in, they still have a current user unique ID.
Okay.
So I'm guessing they're probably using the current user unique ID and sending that over into type form and then like marrying the 2.
Yeah. Okay. Or are they just using that webhook from Typeform? Yeah.
Well, they still have to match it to a unique ID because there's no, like, receiving a webhook back from Typeform won't match it to the user without a unique ID of some kind.
Okay, so then that unique ID is somehow being brought into Typeform when this is generated, is that the flow? And then
so I'm just guessing because I've never done this before, but that's where I would start. The other things that you could use to kind of potentially send information in through that iframe would be to look at the cookies or the local storage plugins that Bubble has, where you can store information in the browser itself, and then maybe reference that information in the iframe and send over to Typeform. I'm not sure. I've never done that either. Yeah. I'm just thinking through like the ways that I would approach it.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate that, and discovered this over the weekend. Just wanted to ask and just kind of explore it some more, because I think this use case, if I can understand this and apply it, like it has really good application and would make, like, this is beautifully created with no code, is amazing, because that type of thing normally I thought you'd have to be logged in for. And so it just opened up kind of a new window possibilities of like creating some value, because I do have some use cases that people want that information to display in real time, on a page like this. So you give me some good insights to look down and the rabbit holes to go down. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious to hear how it goes and see what you come up with and how you might utilize it. I generally factor out Typeform for my clients. Eventually, my clients don't even want to use Typeform.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. The thing I like about Typeform is you can score things really easily, which I think is why they're using it, versus then doing all that and creating your own bubble form. Because if you created your own bubble form, you could essentially solve this easier, probably, I would guess, right? Yep. That'd be an easier application, is because then with Bubble, then you would have that user ID session, and then you can make that tie together. But cool. I don't want to take up any more time. That was helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Rob, you were here second. Do you have any questions today?
Nope, I am the watcher.
You are the watcher. Got it. And Thomas, do you have questions today?
I actually do. It's a quick one because I got to jump off here. May I share my screen?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm having a bit of trouble. I'm working on some data tables. And essentially what I want to do is I've figured out how to, click individually on each specific cell. But what I want to do here is when I click on this one, it selects all of them.
Sure.
Yep.
So if you go to the workflow on that click.
1 second. On this one. Uh-oh.
And do you also want to be able to click that to unselect all of them?
Yeah. Ideally too, when I don't know if this is possible. Give me a second. I'm like running around right now. It's a crazy day. Why is it selecting? I don't have my mouse right now. It's annoying, so I'm like all over the place.
That's okay. Yep. So go into the workflow itself, and we're going to work on first on that conditional statement.
Sure.
So when group sickles and teammate cells toggle is yes. I don't think that's the right thing. So we want to take that, go ahead and clear out that only when. And then do you have a custom state that's containing all of the things that are selected?
I didn't know exactly where to put it. At first I put it on the page, that didn't work. Then on the individual cell, and then on the repeating group. I'm taking
No,
it
I would
all
put it
way
on the page.
On the page.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I would.
I imagine toggle of yes, no.
Usually it's whatever. No, it's not yes, no. It's a list of. Yeah. Okay. So fundamentally, what we're going to do is we're going to have a list of the different. These are users. Is that right? Or
Yep.
contacts or something?
It's just sample data. Yeah. They would be individual.
Okay.
Teammates.
Whatever.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So I would call the state name selected teammates.
Selected teammates. Okay. Gotcha.
And then make it of type whatever those records are. Teammate, and then make that a list. Okay, and now every time you, let's fix the individual ones first. So go into the workflow on the individual click. Okay, so when this is, and then add the only when to the
Because these will interfere.
Yep, so only when the the sample data is selected teammates does not contain, so doesn't contain the current cells or the parent group's teammate. That'll work. And then click to add an action. And you're going to set the state, yep, on the same thing. And here you're going to do the same, the sample data tables state. So just say the same name of the state. Yep, and then plus item.
Plus
No,
item.
the PLUS, yeah, spell it out.
Plus.
Nope, type it out with the word plus. There you go. Plus item parent group's teammate. and then copy and paste that workflow.
No mouse.
And then make it contains.
Oop, that was good.
Nope. Yep. And then switch it and say minus item instead. There you go. So now your individual ones will work. And then you're going to have to go and change the conditional. So you won't see
Oh,
it
yeah,
working
right.
here because the conditional has to be set to that state.
Makes sense, of course. So when contains, you said?
Yep.
Parent group's teammate.
Perfect.
Right.
Okay. And so now if you go to, yeah, you can test it if you want.
Okay.
And just make sure it's working.
Cool.
Okay. And so now go to the other click, the one that's going to select all. And so then what you're going to do for the comparison in the select all click for the, I'm like confused. Okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
I know.
So the only when.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Only when.
So why don't you delete the extra one, because we'll
Yeah.
just copy and paste
Yeah.
once we're done with the first version. Okay, so the only one for this is going to be that same state. Count,
Contains count.
no, count is
There's 6 items.
not, I think is not. And then the repeating groups count. So the list of teammates count. Okay, and then what you want to do is on step 1, go ahead and, yep, the same, set the state, but it'll be the same state we're talking about. And then the value is going to be that repeating group's list of teammates. And now you can copy and paste.
Right. So hard. Okay.
And then what we want to do is, yep. And then go ahead and just clear that out.
Just clear it out.
Yep, and now try it.
Nice. Yeah, and then I'll just change the condition on this. Now
Yep.
let's see what happens if I do that. Oh my God, so beautiful. I was like, how do I do this? Can I even do this? And then I was like, let me go ask Tanya. She'll figure it out for me. Thank you.
Yep,
I
you
really
can do
appreciate
it.
it.
Hey, no problem.
Yep.
John.
Stop sharing. I'm good to go.
How are you, John?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. Right, I've only got one question today, you'll be pleased to know. Let me share my screen. So, let me get rid of all these so they're not distracting. Right, so if I'm on this page and I select, so it defaults to, if you remember, we did this whole thing about setting a default domain that you want to see in here. If I change this, I noticed this the other day and it's a bit awkward. So if I change this to a different one, all works fine. But if I then go to a different page, it sets this back to the default one. So I would think user behavior will be they want to look at this and then they want to go through the different pages, still looking at the thing they've just changed it to.
Gotcha.
And I'm wondering how I tell it to stay on whatever value the user has selected when they move.
So
across the page.
I would put another URL parameter when you're switching pages, because right now the reason it's doing that is you're going to the page, and we have it set that on page load it sets the default. So what we need to do is tell it only set that as the on page load if this other parameter is empty.
Okay.
And that way, every time you're switching pages, you're setting that parameter and it won't be empty. And that way, or if you already have a parameter that makes sense to set it to, then you can. Does that make sense? It's just being able to give the condition on page load, only do this on like page load if they don't have anything else loaded.
Right. So when you say parameter, you mean a parameter in the URL?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right.
Something
okay.
so that, yeah, because when you're, I'm assuming when you're clicking pages, it's navigating, it's going to the page with different parameters.
Yeah.
Or are you loading a different page?
Loading a different page.
Got it. So yeah, so you need to send in a parameter that's going to tell it not to load the default.
Right. Okay. And how do I set the parameter?
So it's when you navigate, when you go to page, you click to set a new set more parameters. So go to the workflow.
For this nav.
Yeah, let's just do it for pages. When you click on pages, what happens?
Okay.
Oh, have you not worked with URL parameters before, John?
No.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Right.
We were doing everything in custom states. I see. Now I understand.
Yeah. Okay. So, yep. So that's the pages one.
Yep. And you go to the workflow on that. And you're going to pages. Okay. And so send more parameters to the page. Add another parameter, and the key will be domain. And I would do it in lowercase. And then the domain should be the
drop down boxes value.
That drop down. Mm-hmm.
Which
you won't be able to get to probably because this is in its own reusable and it's in that other one. So what we can do is go ahead and say get. So go ahead and click here because we can set it here and then we can go fix it. So get data, just type get data from page URL. And then parameter name is domain. And then that's it. If you close that, I think that should resolve and should be fine. So now what we can do is we can go to the header. And then when that drop down is changed, I think we have a do when workflow in our workflows, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So if you go to the workflows and find when we change that drop down. So do when. Yep, it's the second to last one on the bottom. When drop down GSC properties value is changed.
Oh, there. Yep.
Yep. So now you're setting states, which is fine. That's not going to hurt anything. But now what I want you to do is to click to add an action. And navigate to the same page, go to page, which I don't know that you're going to know which page you're on because this isn't the header.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so go to page and let's see if there's a way we can do this dynamically. destination is going to be that's okay. We can figure a way around this. All right, so go ahead and delete this step from here. And on each page, we will create a workflow. So go ahead and go to, I forgot what you renamed your page to.
So the page we were looking at was pages, and we called the summary page keywords in the end rather than test list shifter.
Gotcha. And so let's go to any page. It doesn't matter which one.
Okay. Well, let's stick with pages. That's easier, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then click to add an event. And so what we know is whichever page you're on, you're going to have access to the header states, because that's how that drop down is working right now.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is do when condition is, go to element. It's not an input. We want it to be when it's changed. This is a tricky one. So
I thought this was another one of mine where I thought this is probably going to be quite straightforward.
No, I mean, it is straightforward. The issue is we're moving data around between things that are not connected. So it gets a little convoluted. So if you go to, what we're trying to do is when you change that drop down, we want to reflect the change in the URL. And right now, since everything is in custom states, we're going to have a little bit, and also because that drop down is in the header, so we don't necessarily know which page we're on.
Can we not use the database to store? Can we store the value that they've selected in the drop down and then add it to the database temporarily so it acts like a global?
Yeah, we could do that.
Wondering if that's
and then instead of yep, we could totally do that.
Okay. Yeah.
So
okay.
right now, how do you set the defaults? I forget.
So do I. That's a very good question. It must be on. How do I set the default? It's on the configuration page, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. They pick a default, right?
Yeah, it does it. So if I go here.
So maybe instead of having them set a default that they want to see each time, why don't we just show them the last one they selected each time across sessions?
That's probably easier. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So then you can just repurpose their default field, and every time they change that drop down, you change that field.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's probably simpler, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. I think I can work that one out. If not, I'll come back to you on Wednesday. I'll have a go at that. But that makes sense, I think.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Callum, you were here at the beginning. You started it all in session 1.
Yeah, I'm glad my pizza and wine drinking intuitively brought all of this about.
I know. It's amazing.
I know. And I have no questions. No bubble questions anyway.
Okay. Awesome. John, do you have any more questions? Because Rob said he didn't have any questions.
No, I don't think I do.
All right. Well, that's a short. That's a short and sweet episode 300. It just seems like we've become so much more efficient, Callum, because I think our first one was like 8 hours, right? So
Yeah, but I remember we spent like 6 hours trying to sort out that damn API,
I remember clearly.
which we then found out a year later we'd set up wrong.
Well, that's why it wasn't. Well, we knew we were setting it up wrong because it wasn't working.
No, we got it working, and then a year later, I think it was John, wasn't it, or someone else showed us that we'd done it wrong because we'd missed something out. Actually, I do have a question now, but
Yeah.
not for you, Tanya. Sorry,
Oh,
John.
Yeah.
Do you know how to change text in HTML, font in HTML? I assumed it was very, very simple and just put font, and it didn't work. Or font style. Do you know how to?
I think so. Assuming you've got the font loaded.
That's a good point. That was it. So I want to use pop-in. I'm doing that API key thing again. God damn it. Every time. Let me find it. Okay, there we go. So, oh yeah, there we go. So I did put it in there. I did font style, blah, blah, pop-ins, thingy.
Yeah, and that's not doing anything.
No, it didn't. I mean, so that's pop-ins there. And then if we wait for an eternity for it to load. And property. Oh, that's a nice one. Who wants to live there? It's got a
For
swimming
me,
pool.
9.5 million. Bargain.
Oh yeah, cinch. Anyway, yeah, that's not Poppins font.
So what's that?
So that's Poppins 200. That's not.
Okay. So what's that look like in the inspector?
Where do you need me to go?
So you right click
there
on
it
that
is. Ah,
text. That's it. And then go up. So font, so it's been overridden by the looks. Invalid property value. That's because that is the wrong thing. Font style is normal, italic, oblique, that sort of thing, isn't it?
so just font then.
Well, if you go to, let me have a look.
Here we go. That's easy. Font.
Yeah. Font family.
And then it'd be Poppins, wouldn't it? And then you've got to do the weighting of 200, right?
Yeah.
I say as if I know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
I hit the blue thing, yeah.
Oh, cool. That's banging.
Yeah. So just change that font style to font family and get rid of the 200, and then it'll be font hyphen weight 200.
So font hyphen. I love that you can do it in here. It's so
It's
cool,
good, isn't it?
Yeah, 200. Enter. Has that done it? I think it might be a bigger font size.
Change it to like 700, and you'll notice it then.
Yep. There we go. I think it's just sometimes it gets confusing because it will look bigger than that one, but then that's probably a different font size. 100.
Now, don't add this in and then accidentally delete it and need the video back off Tonya, will you?
I still need to put it in, don't I? So all right, I need to rub it in. Font hyphen famalam. Yeah, pop in.
And did it make you put? Just having a look. I think you have to put. Maybe not. I'm just having a look because it made you put Poppins in what do you call it? It's speech marks, but I don't know.
Ah, yes.
What's
Well
worked, is it?
spotted.
I don't know whether you have to do that or not. I'm just looking at it now on the web. It shows you both, to be fair.
Okay. Oh, it's got a hot tub as well. Oh, that sealed it for me.
Bloody should do for 9.5 million.
If it doesn't come with its own butler, I'm not buying it.
No.
Fair, it looks more like a hotel than anything else, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But oh, I see. You're just taking the piss out of me in the chat. Love you guys. Oh dear.
Don't mind me. I'm just cracking jokes.
Awesome. That was great. I mean, that is
Change.
not worth that for 6.4 million. You taking the piss? Look at it. Looks like my nan's house. I mean, it's bigger, but
That's
look at
the
that.
London
look?
property market for you.
I mean, it's got a fairly nice roof terrace. I'll give you
Yeah.
that. But no, I'm not forking out 6.4 million for that.
No,
Maybe
Not
I'll-
that one anyway.
No, that one I'll pay for.
that looks nice. I've got no idea.
It's got a play area.
Oh, yeah, now you're talking.
You didn't see that before? I saw that.
I didn't.
Oh,
It drew my attention right away.
It's got everything.
sorry.
Where is Damak Tower? Where is it?
It's near London.
Oh, impressive views over South London, Nine Elms, and the River Thames. Right.
I would
What's it
never
called?
live in a building that looks like it's about to fall over, though.
Who's out living with me then? I
Hey,
mean, that's more to do with shoddy workmanship than anything else. But
Brenton, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How y'all doing?
Good.
We're having fun.
We're just buying
Yeah.
houses in London.
Do you have any
Tanya's-
questions for today, Brenton? Oh, what was that, Callum?
I was just saying, Tonya sold pro NoCoders and is moving to London and buying a penthouse. But sure.
You wouldn't have to worry about 105 degrees there.
No, definitely not.
No, Rob, she's taking me, not you.
No, I need to get the accent down. I need to practice. You have it.
What?
All right, Brenton, you're up.
Cool. I'm actually still working on the same thing from the last time I was in office hours, just because I haven't had time to work on it actually. So I'm kind of in the
Okay.
same place where I'm trying to figure out like same problem as last time. Stripe still has not put us or has not reactivated our account, but PayPal has. So I'm trying to figure out how to accept credit card payments with PayPal, and I'm playing around with different apps. I'm playing around with PayPal, and I can't really. There's just so many options, and I'm just kind of looking for some guidance on how to, like, maybe point me in a direction to get me started on a simple path.
Gotcha. Let me see if I can find the sandbox where I did that before. Hang on just a moment. I'm going to go poke around. And it's very slow poking around your list of bubble apps, as you might or might not be aware, depending on how many apps you juggle
Oh yeah,
in yours. But they don't have a very good, I can't just search.
yeah. Do you know if it's possible to accept credit cards through PayPal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
'cause
one called PayPal Sandbox.
Oh, nice.
What? That's awesome.
The place I was just in doesn't have the credit card option, so I was definitely in the wrong place.
Loading. They're lucky I can see that spinner. I Here, I'll share my screen so you guys can appreciate this. Like,
Ooh.
bubble, come on. All right, there you go. So I will make this viewable so you can come in and poke around. Clearly, I was doing this when February 26th of last year. So we accounting for things that have probably changed in the meantime. It's right now everyone can edit. I'll make it everyone can view, and I'll send you the link. And so I am using, I have two different plugins here that I was using. The first one is the Copilot one. And then if I go into an order page here, this button here is to create a new payment or make changes to the order and show pop-up A. What is pop-up A? Pop-up A is the PayPal button. And then you can put in the information. So yeah, so it's still using a PayPal button. So you could probably just make this.
So that button opens a
I have
an offsite window.
Yeah, and I have two buttons because I need to make my own database stuff before I send them to PayPal. And then once they go to PayPal, they fill all of that out. But I don't have any error handling in this at all. So that's the thing that we would want to see. Oh, well, wait a second. So when PayPal button, a payment has been captured. So this would be a fail safe, right? So it's only when the payment has been captured, then I make the changes to the payment and to the order and to the order. So this one is only when total amount is greater than or less than or equal to. Yeah, so what I was doing here was allowing the person to make a payment towards a total as opposed to making the full payment.
Huh.
So like how we would separate it out so that the use case was for parents who wanted to pay like their kids' summer camp in 2 installments instead of 1. And so it would, and then PayPal, make changes to payment. If it encountered an error, then we would put the error message in here so we would know what happened, and then you could handle it differently. Like you could do more from there. Okay, and then I have this recurring payments one in here. And I have my keys. This is sandbox keys. I'm not worried about it. I'm just reciting that for Kim if Kim is looking through it later. PayPal, create a plan, activate a client plan, create an agreement, execute, cancel. I don't think I actually ended up playing around with this at all, but it looks like this is one that you could use to run, to create plans and run recurring payments through.
Okay. I'll take a look at
So
the 2 of those.
if I do, let's do a recurring just real fast. So recurring. And then here, events, payment success versus payment canceled. So you have these events that you can work with.
Are those back-end events?
Oh, events are like when you put, when you're trying to detect information, like you're receiving information back from PayPal based on the calls that you made to like create a plan or whatever.
Oh, so they're
When-
immediate. I
yeah,
see.
they're immediate and they happen on that you can,
It's like a response.
yeah, it's a response that you can detect.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where I would start. I would,
So one question on that. So it looked like there was just one button, and I've seen places on PayPal where it gives you like 3 buttons. One is PayPal, one is like Venmo or something, and then one of them is the debit card button. Are there any plugins that bring that all the way into your app, or is that something that once you click on that button and it opens that little window, that's where they would make that selection?
hang on, let's run it and find out. So I'm going to run the order page. Client credentials are missing.
Not surprising for some old code, an old sandbox.
Right? Like, what did I do? Let's see here. Let's upgrade. Oh, it's not too bad. It's only one behind. Let's see about this one. Servers, please. Client credentials are missing. Let's go to workflow. PayPal payments, create a subscription. Oh, this is why I never set this up. I think I want to create an order. Data, create a new thing. Order. Date and time. Payments, remove this and total amount. Oh, and then I have to navigate to the other page. So I made it so that you have to put in at least half of this. And then it lets me sign in with PayPal. And I want to change this and probably use I used to have sandbox ones. Let's see if it'll remember.
So this feels like I've seen this before where all you do is you put like an HTML button on your site and it basically does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of seems like that same flow. Oh, and there's the option to pay with a debit card below.
Well, but it's not actually sent me to, this is a pop-up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not actually sent me to PayPal. I'm still in Bubble. This is just a PayPal pop-up. So that's a little bit different than just putting the button on your site, because the button would actually navigate you to PayPal, right?
Is this it looks like it's a separate window. Is it in the same window? It's a pop-up.
It's a separate window. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and then here's where you could pay with debit or credit card.
Right. Okay.
Or you could log in and pay with PayPal.
Okay. Well, we can do that. I was hoping we could integrate a little bit more cleanly, but we can do this until we figure out a better way to do it.
I think actually I don't think you want to integrate it more cleanly. What they've discovered is that people don't trust you when you create your own user experience for payment that's outside of what people are expecting for PayPal or Stripe. They don't trust it as much. So it's actually, I don't think that you're looking for a cleaner integration. I think you're looking for the one that converts the highest. And I think that the ones that they've done testing and the ones that do convert higher are things like this, where I know that I'm with PayPal, right? So I know that I'm giving my information through PayPal. I trust that more than another site. So
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So I think I will actually put some time in this week to get those, to use those plugins that you recommended. So thanks for pointing me in that direction. Hopefully I'll be able to get them integrated. I'm still just annoyed that Stripe isn't working because it was already all done with Stripe.
that is, that's really frustrating. I'm sorry that happened. I wish there was a way to like talk to a person. I don't know. Have you been able to talk to anybody?
Yeah, I've been, I send one email and they say, we'll get back to you in 2 days. And then 4 days later, they send another email that says, we'll get back to you in 2 more days. It's been like,
oh my gosh. Have you tried going through their sales department?
No, I didn't even think about that. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I'd go through their sales department because then they're motivated.
Yeah, I'll try that.
Yeah.
Tonya, I've got
Awesome.
one for you. I'm employing you here. Oh, sorry, we've done one, the PayPal one. Are you still going? Sorry.
No, I think we're
Yeah,
done.
Oh, yeah, cool. This is a EDEV and you being a PM kind of question. My next call coming up, they want to be able to display a user's, so it's two-sided marketplace, our standard. They want to be able to display the user's social media following on a set kind of, so a Facebook or a Twitter or whatever, but they'll choose which one. But they then want to be able to sort, you want to have an option to be able to sort sellers based on how many followers they have. Could you do a search based on the number of, without storing it in the database? Because all you're doing is you'd have to sort by the API results, right?
You could probably get that accomplished with Eli's virtual data types, but that would require asking Eli to either make that plugin public or asking him to install it on the app. But Eli has, or we could have one of the plugin developers at AirDev just develop it again. But essentially, it's their episode 85 is when Eli kind of details out how that works, and it's precisely for that reason, is being able to sort by, you create a virtual data type that then you can sort by.
Yeah, you can do it.
Is it just temporary then? It only exists while the session's open and then it doesn't store the data anywhere. So it's more like a custom state than a data type.
Yeah, it's not a data type in the traditional sense. So yeah, it's more like a custom state.
Yeah. You can use list shifter to do the same thing as well. I do it a lot in mine.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, so, okay, so it's not impossible to do. So
No, all of my app, I don't store any of my sort of clicks data or anything like that. Is all coming from an API. It's not stored in the database, and then I just sort it using list shifter. List shifter's got a built-in sort function.
So okay, so technically it can be done. It'll be bloody expensive though, won't it? Because effectively, if you want to have up-to-date stats on, so let's say that they want to combine the number of Instagram followers, Twitter followers, and Facebook followers a person has. So you have to get the number of followers for each user 3 times every time it loads. And if we're not saving in the database, every time someone does a search and queries it, they're then also going to have to ping the API to get the results because they want updated ones and then sort by them. So you're going to be pinging all 3 APIs a lot because you're not just doing it for the current user. If I search and I want to do it by the number of followers they have, I'm going to have to query all 3 APIs for every single result that shows, aren't I?
I'm not sure I follow. So depends what they're trying to do. So once it's in list shifter doesn't re-query the API to do the sort or search.
No, sorry, that's not what I mean. I mean, it's a two-sided marketplace. I want to be able to search sellers, but I want to search for them based on the number of followers they have on their social media. So first of all, when I do a search, I'm going to need to get the number of followers for every single search result that shows up, right?
Yep.
And because it has to be live and it, you know, and we're not storing the database, every time somebody does a search, it's going to have to query the API to get the result every single time someone searches.
Yep.
And if there's 100 users, that's going to, and you know, they all do what, and they do one search a day, it's going to query the API 300 times because you'd be querying Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yep.
Okay. Hence my point, it's going to get expensive. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't know where I got a spoon from. Oh, all right. Sounds like fun.
Right. We're going to move into after hours, which should be fun. Thank you, everybody, for watching episode 300. And if you want to join us in after hours where we turn off the recording and turn on the cameras and I don't know, we play around and have fun doing things that we don't want to share on camera, then you can go ahead and join us at pronocoders.com, become one of our developer members, and come see us in office hours. We can't wait to meet you.